Is technology at your work distracting you from actual work? Do you spend too much time troubleshooting PC or internet issues? IT Enabled can help. Our team of IT specialists can help you tackle your technology troubles and get you focused on growing your business in no time. Call to schedule your technology consultation, 936-225-3329. IT Enabled. We're here to help.
Hi, I'm Tara Watson-Watkins, President and CEO of the Lufkin Angelina County Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the Connect podcast, connecting business to the community. I'm here today with my co-host, Blake Polina with BP Media Group.
So this week, we interview Nathan Gann, the owner of Gann Medford Real Estate here in Lufkin, to talk about this absolutely crazy real estate market that we're experiencing, what's maybe the new normal, and what the future for the Lufkin real estate market looks like.
We're excited today to have Nathan Gann with Gann Medford Realty. Welcome to the podcast, Nathan.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Glad you're here. Mm-hmm. So Nathan and I have known each other since we were 3 years old.
That's
he
right.
is truly my oldest friend. And we go back a long time. We used to play a lot in the woods, which was a lot of fun growing up together. We shot every tree there was out there, I think. So.
Yeah.
But why don't you tell the listeners that don't know about you, your background?
Well, real estate's probably what brought us together. My dad built your dad's office building back in the day, and that's kind of how we met. But real estate's a family business for me. My grandmother started our company. I'm a third generation real estate broker. We sell, buy and sell investment properties. We manage investment properties for people. But it's just been a great place to raise my family, and being here and continuing our family kind of tradition of real estate's been great for me.
That's great.
I love it.
And your wife is also in business with you?
My wife is a realtor. She's an agent with us. She loves to sell. She's been doing it about 15 years. Time flies. We're getting old. I hate to say that.
No, we're not. Not at all.
When you start talking about historical things and how long we've been doing this, it sounds like a long time already. But
so have you been doing real estate your entire life?
I have. When I went to college, didn't know what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, who ran the company at the time, was like, find something else to do. Don't do real estate. He lived through the 80s when real estate was really tough. Interest rates were 18%.
Wow.
Imagine trying to buy a house
Yeah.
and pay 18-20% interest.
Gosh.
Or at the time, he was building a lot of houses and building them on construction loans that were 18 and 20%. So he was like, I don't want you to do that.
Right.
And I thought it'd be a good idea just to get my license, and that would be at least a backup plan if I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do or find a job. I did an internship in College Station. I went to Texas A&M and did an internship and just loved it and came back here. I've been here. This will be my 23rd year, I guess, of selling real estate in Lufkin, and I love it. I love everything about it.
It's great.
It's not just behind the desk or behind the computer all day. You get to go out and meet people and look at something different every day.
Yeah,
it really is.
Absolutely. When did it become the primary plan? Do you kind of remember a moment in time that it kind of became the?
I really don't. I did it a couple of summers.
Uh-huh.
I came back. I did an internship there in College Station. I did an internship here in our office, but working with Cindy Pierce, one of our top agents, top realtor in town, and just I just saw how she loved helping people, working with people.
Interesting.
And it was something different, literally every day. And you're not just selling houses. You're especially in a community like we're in, like Lufkin, small town atmosphere.
Sure.
You're selling the town most of the time. You're selling Lufkin.
Right.
As much as you're selling the individual house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's even more so these days because the internet and virtual tours and equipment like all this, it'll sell the house for you.
Oh, yeah.
You know that as well as anybody. But we got to sell them on Lufkin.
Right.
So that's what I find me teaching our agents and, focusing on realtors. Hey, you need to know your community. You need to know what it has to offer. And you'll be a much better realtor and agent and can help your clients more. So
love that.
Well, the real estate market really has changed over the last few years, and let's talk about that. What do you think was the shift?
There's been a lot of things, but COVID has changed our life in ways that history will tell. But one of the ways it's changed the real estate market and changed our town has been who's coming here and what we have to offer. Lufkin and historically we've focused on economic development. Well, COVID changed that for us, in my opinion. And what I'm seeing out there, people coming to Lufkin, they don't have to come here for a job anymore. COVID has made it where one of the things that we're going to keep from COVID is people are going to work from home or work remotely. Mm-hmm. Not just from Houston and Dallas, which is a lot of what we saw early on, but they're coming from other states. And, they're not necessarily worried about the paper mill or what jobs Lufkin might have. They're more concerned on what Lufkin has to do.
That's right.
And I know the city has. Do I?
That quality of life.
The quality of life, yeah. We've got 5 lakes within an hour drive of here. That's huge. Something I see people looking at a lot when they come here is the recreation we have, and they're not coming to Lufkin necessarily. They're coming to rural Texas. Mm-hmm. Even from Houston and Dallas, they're looking for a place. They're literally closing their eyes and picking a dot on the map, saying, "This is halfway between Houston and Dallas. I'll just live somewhere around there." Yeah. And we'll have people come look at houses, and they'll look at a house here, and they'll say, "Well, this afternoon I'm looking at one in Madisonville, and then tomorrow we're going to go look at a couple in Bullard or different communities that like Lufkin." They don't care. They don't care where they live because of their job. Mm-hmm. They're looking because of what these places have to offer them.
It's kind of refreshing.
It is. I mean, we can really magnify on that. Lufkin's got a lot to offer, not just our lakes, but and we're doing so much more with that with the arts. Temple Theater, things like that, the Pines Theater. Those type of things are great additions that I really think people are looking at. They're drawn to. Yeah. But our other conflict that we have is they're wanting to come here, but there's no houses available. Their housing is a problem. It's not us. It's statewide. It's Texas. Everybody is wanting to come to Texas from California, Oregon, Washington State. Those are the 3 big places people are coming from. But not just housing, but affordable housing. Mm-hmm. Affordable just went from 100 to 150 to 200 is kind of what I would range affordable housing these days. But we've got to have – these people are going to come here. They're not going to – we don't have to sell a big business to come here. We still need to focus on those things. But we got to have places for them to live. Mm-hmm. Texas in general has tried to solve some of the affordable housing problem with apartments. And we've had new apartments going up. There's 2 being built right now in Lufkin. But that's a short-term solution. Mm-hmm. That's not, a family does not want to, they want to buy a home, especially if they're coming to Texas.
And they want land.
If they're going to live in an apartment, they'll do that in the big city. Yeah. But if they're moving to Texas, if they're moving to rural Texas, they want a house. Mm-hmm. They want to live on some land. A lot of people come here and buy 5 or 10 acres and think they got a ranch, and to them it is. To us it's not that big of a deal, but they think they got a piece of Texas and a big. It's really just a big yard to some of us.
Ask Brent how long it takes to mow.
I've seen him mow your yard a lot. Yeah.
The economics of that are interesting because a lot of those people who are moving from places like California or Oregon or Washington, their real estate market has been just out of control for a long time. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times they're selling with assets to come here and buy, so that to that apartment point that just doesn't give them a place to buy. Mm-hmm. They have funds available to come in. And we're seeing that in the real estate market. We see it firsthand all the time. We have a real estate photography and video business, and we will take photos of a home for a realtor to list. And we see it. At first, it was this weird anomaly, and we thought it was cool. But now it happens all the time. We'll take pictures, and we deliver our pictures next day. The house will already be sold before they've even received the pictures. It's gone. Like as soon as it hits the market. Yeah, like it used to be like that would happen like once or twice a year. And we'd be like, oh, that was cool. Now I wouldn't say it's every time, but it happens it's lot. The norm now. Yeah, it's wild how that's had changed.
We in Lufkin an average amount of inventory is 6 months worth of homes on the market at any given time. And what that means is that every 6 months, all those sell and there's a whole batch of new ones. Right now, I think we're at 1.8 months worth of inventory on the market. So it's the lowest it's ever been since I've been in the business. And it scares me that it's a bubble like they've had in other states, but California, for example. But everything you read, all the economists that you talk to say this is not a bubble. There's so many people coming to Texas, and the Texas economy is so strong. I think Texas economy it's in the top 10. I think it's like the 5th largest or 7th largest economy in the world. Bigger than Russia.
Bigger than a lot of countries.
Yeah, bigger than a lot of countries.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So that alone protects us from having these big ups and downs that other states have had in the past. So I really don't think houses have jumped here lately. They've like I said, the affordable houses are now 200,000. I think they're just going to they may not continue to increase in value as fast as they have the past 2 years, but I think they're going to be that price. They're not going to go down.
I hate this phrase, but do you feel like this is a new normal? So this is what we're just going to see.
That's what everybody says
going forward. Interesting. I do have a specific question for you that I want to ask. There's some news that's happened with all of this. I know how much the real estate industry loathed the Zillow Zestimate of what they would say a house is. Here recently, they started buying houses in big cities and all around, and through their company, and they recently kind of backpedaled on that. What are your thoughts on that? I think it's interesting to.
I think they were doing that based on just data,
right?
And you can't do real estate that way. There's still, you got to have the personal touch. You've got to go look at that house and see. You've got to know that what's across the street, or what might happen to the school district, that they're building new schools down the road. Or you have to know locally what's going on.
Interesting.
And that backfired on them.
Yeah.
They were trying to get in the real estate industry just using data, and they got burned.
Yeah.
And like you said, they're backpedaling. They've totally canceled a lot of that.
Yeah.
We fought that Zestimate forever because it wasn't accurate.
No, not even close.
There was no personal touch to it to know if there's a paper mill right across the street or down the road that every time the wind blows you got to deal with or something.
Yeah.
That they just didn't have that data. They never went to the properties, but they had a lot of money and they were buying a lot of stuff up.
Yeah. And do we see any of that locally here?
Not much.
Not much.
A little bit. They focused on larger cities. And
how does that compare when you talk about the larger cities in Lufkin? Do the markets tend to mirror what those larger cities do? Is it kind of its own thing?
Lufkin is more steady than most places, and a lot of that I contribute to our industry and some of our good paying jobs that we've always had. But diversity is what keeps your market steady like that. Like we never had any bubbles back in 2008 and 2009 when the banking crisis and all that. We felt a little bit of that, but not much. I mean, Lufkin's got a diverse population of jobs and ways you can make a living here. That just increased more because people don't even have to live here. Don't have to have a job here to live here and make good money. So we've had, how many of our childhood friends or high school classmates have gone to the big cities, and when they started having kids, they were looking for a way to come back to Lufkin. They wanted to raise their kids here.
That's right.
Well, now they don't have the excuse of, hell, I can't find a job that
Right.
pays me as much in Lufkin.
Right.
Most cases, they can. I talked to somebody last week, good friend of mine. He said, I can work from home, and his wife's fixing to be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
He said, I think we're fixing to move back to East Texas.
It's just a good place to raise families, and it gives an opportunity to be able to have your kids experience the things that you did even better because we've improved upon things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you say you're selling the community, what is missing that the community needs to help sell itself?
I think we focus on all the amenities and things like that, but we have to find a way to promote housing and affordable housing. It hadn't been done. There has not been a new subdivision in Lufkin in probably 30 years.
Yeah.
Literally. There hadn't been a Brook Hollow or a Crown Colony or, there's been some, like Four Seasons, for instance, is a good one. That was a great subdivision off of Old Union. Whisper Creek was one my dad did back in the 90s. Those are 12 to 1,500 square foot houses. And nobody has done another subdivision like that since then. We need more housing. When we have new doctors, when the hospital bring doctors to town, part of their tour is we go show them a few houses, show them kind of what everybody is usually really glad at what they can afford here. Our cost of living is lower, but the availability and variety of houses we have to show them is limited. Sometimes embarrassing.
Yeah.
Literally, if we have some of the doctors to tour, like I said, part of our tour is actually physically go look at some houses on the market, what they can buy here. And it's I guarantee you it's cost the hospital some really good doctors because we just didn't have enough housing for them to choose
live.
from. Yeah. We might have one or two houses and they want to look at 10, or we may just have, if you've only got a couple of houses in their price range, there's so many varieties of houses with land, houses on the golf course, 2 stories or 1 stories, houses with pools. You need more of a variety to really attract somebody here, and housing is a big attractant.
Do we have areas that are about to be developed, or?
There's a few small,
because there's a lot of area I see being cleared that I don't really know what's going there.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. There's some of the builders in town that are stepping out there and doing things. It's very, very expensive to develop property these days. And Dad used to say back when he developed some subdivisions, and I'm sure when they did like Brook Hollow and Crown, the infrastructure, if the gas company would run all the gas lines if you guaranteed them that each house would have at least 2 gas appliances. Well, none of that kind of stuff's done anymore. The developer has to pay for everything to be ran. Expense is the biggest factor in why it's not done more. And I'm not saying the city needs to get into putting in subdivisions, but we need to come up with a way to encourage more development by the city. If it's cutting red tape, or assisting with permits or something like that. But I don't really have an answer to it yet. But I think it needs to be on their radar as a way to attract people here, because, like I said, they don't just have to be coming here for a job anymore.
That's interesting.
Very interesting. So what do you think is kind of on the horizon for the real estate market in Lufkin? Obviously, that's adding to, home prices increasing and demand increasing as well. There's definitely a shortage of homes. But what do you kind of see on the horizon for that outside of us needing more subdivisions?
I think we're going to continue to see people coming here from the Midwest, Florida and California. Florida even is a state. Florida's number 2. It's California is the number 1 state. People are coming to Texas. Florida's number 2, and then Washington and Oregon. Yeah, I think Florida is. We see that's something else that we see a lot of is Lufkin, Angelina County was designated a retirement. community and destination a while back, and we see that's that was bigger than people think. We really see
Yeah.
a lot of people coming here to retire, and they're coming here because there's stuff to do in the older.
Well, and
age,
it's easy to get to, and yeah.
It's our hospitals are a big draw to that too. A lot of people don't know that, that everybody thought it was the end of the world when some of our industries closed.
Right.
But our hospitals, at the same time, while they weren't looking, both hospitals grew by more jobs than we lost. And the paper mill was 800 jobs. Texas Foundry was more than that, I think. But our hospital and our medical industry just took up all that slack. So people don't really.
Yeah, and there's been a ton of ancillary jobs that support those hospitals around there. I mean, that whole district is really
us
grown.
Becoming a medical hub
Yeah.
has been huge, not just for Lufkin. That's been huge for the 12 county region.
I was going to say it's a 12 county region draw and pull. So
it is, and a lot of these people, they might not want to live in town, but they want to be within 20 minutes of their doctor. Yeah. And we are, especially with the loop around Diboll and the additions to I-69 and stuff like that. Our proximity to Houston and access to the airport there is doing nothing but help us help Lufkin grow.
Absolutely. We'll love it. Well, where can people find you if they want to learn more about real estate? If they want to learn more about your company, if they need help with real estate, where can everyone find you?
We are on the loop in Lufkin at 2808 South John Rhett Drive. You can. Our website is www.lufkinrealestate.com. We'd be happy to help you with any questions. Places to rent, to buy, we can handle it all. If you want to sell your
Awesome.
house, we can do that quick these days.
Yeah, you can. You sure can.
well, thank you for being here.
Thank y'all.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for the
much.
opportunity.
Yeah, appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on and talking with us. And thank you so much for listening to the podcast again this week. We truly appreciate your support. If you'll do us a huge favor, if you'll rate and review the podcast wherever you're listening, that helps us a ton. It helps other people find the podcast if they might be interested in this type of thing. And if you want to watch the video version of this podcast, we do have that available on the Chamber YouTube page and on the Chamber Facebook page. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.